Subscribe to Film Companion for your film fix. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Welcome to the Film Companion Adda. Film Companion has just posted its list of the 25 best Hindi films of the decade, and I'm super excited to be sitting down with 6 of the directors whose films are featured on the list. Zoya Akhtar, Anurag Kashyap, Shakun Batra, Maneesh Sharma, Sriram Raghavan, Shoojit Sircar.
If Karan and Anurag have a baby, it will be me. That's basically what I always tell them, that if they had a child, it would be me.
I think when I was making Band Baaja Baaraat, everybody told me कि यार ये क्या लड़का है, क्या बना रही हो तुम ये पिक्चर, ये लड़का है क्यों पिक्चर के अंदर? यार मतलब मुझे तो सब ठीक लग रहा है.
Biggest risk?
Yeah, your biggest artistic risk in the last time.
Oh, it was Bombay Velvet. I totally failed that.
Varun, of course, Badlapur when he did it, when he said yes, I was curious, does he understand the story? Because Nawaz actually got the hero's arc.
One of the most exciting things that's happened in the last 10 years is really this blurring of lines between what is traditionally considered mainstream and what is traditionally considered independent. And I want all of you to come in on this, that what has that struggle been like to tell stories? And all of the films you made have pushed this, of this blurring of lines, Kapoor and Sons, Gully Boy, any of the films you guys have made. How challenging is it to go from that more sort of larger than life, melodramatic tonality to a more understated place, to a more observed sort of storytelling? How hard has it been in the last 10 years to push that envelope, to get stars to do it, to get producers to back it? How tough is that been?
I actually think 2010 particularly was a very defining year, because I think maximum number of debutant voices came that year. I mean, there was Ishqiya, there was Do Duni Char, there was Dabang, there was I Hate Love Stories, there was Band Baaja Baaraat, there was, all kinds of genres were there.
Yeah.
All kinds of voices were coming in, Ishqiya, So I think in terms of this content film becoming a commercial film, like how people phrase it now, I think somewhere the seeding kind of started in a biggish way in 2010. Before that, there was Luck by Chance, there was Oye Lucky Lucky Oye. There were films which were far and few in between. And maybe the box office was not, was not working the way it's working now, in fact. I think there has been a very gradual graph, and 2010 was a very big year in that sense, I feel. Because I also witnessed that year closely. So I think that change has come about in a very positive way now. That's what I feel, because, we see content-driven Andhadhun doing what it's doing, and Badhai Ho, and Piku. All these films, I think, in terms of the business they've done, the kind of acceptance they've had, the kind of cinematic language they're setting, all these things are kind of coming about together now.
But how hard was it to do this? When you guys made these films, like you said, you had the stray movies, but it wasn't like they were big successes so that people were like, हाँ, ये तो करना ही है. I mean, Shakun, did you have to struggle to tell that story in that way?
I've always, first of all, found myself very fortunate to be surrounded by people who let me do things I want to do. But having said that, I have had friends who wanted to make commercial films, and it's been equally hard for them. So I think getting a film made is hard in general. Getting a film made where, when I was casting for Kapoor and Sons, yes, casting Fawaz's part was a challenge. Nobody was, still open to kind of portraying a part, especially of, a hero wasn't ready to come in and play that part. So, I guess every film has its own challenge. Right now, I thought I had written a film that I felt is more commercial than Kapoor and Sons, and I'm going through the beats now. So, I just don't know. It's every time a new thing arises which becomes challenging. So, I feel like, as I said, also I work with Dharma, which is it's as mainstream as it gets.
Sure.
But for me, thankfully, it has been pretty good. The experience, they understand what I want to say. I've never had to really compromise on my voice. And they've given me the space to kind of just do things the way I want to, because I don't know any other way. I won't be able to do it any other way.
Right.
So for me, the challenge is not casting and producing and budgets. All those challenges are in every film. For me, the challenge is always not to compromise on the voice. I feel the day I feel like I had to compromise on that is the day I'll have to really like figure other things out. But if I can say what I have to say with these challenges, because these are workable challenges, I don't think these are challenges that really
Right.
get you stuck.
Yeah, yeah. So you've always described yourself as the hybrid of mainstream and independent, because that's, you said you were raised in a way where your parents exposed you to
Like
all
I think
sorts.
if Karan and Anurag have a baby, it'll be me. That's basically what I always tell them, that if they had a child, it would be me. There's a complete mix.
An Adbhut Mishran.
Yeah. And I think like I write like that. My work has been like that with Luck by Chance. I think if I made Luck by Chance today, I would not have a problem casting it. I think the actors today are very different. They approach parts differently. They are really excited to be in the grey. You know, they're out of that black and white zone. And it was very tough to cast. And it was Farhan's first film. He shot Rock On and Luck by Chance together. And the film was critically liked. It was liked by the film was loved by the industry, weirdly, and made no money. And you come out of it and you're like, okay, so I need to be a bit more viable. And I need to like figure out how to say things in a way maybe that aren't that subtle, you know, but then coming to think of it, every story requires that much layering. A certain story will be layered that much, a certain story. Zindagi was less layered than Luck by Chance, but then it was that kind of story. But nobody in the industry likes Zindagi. When I showed it at screenings, they were like, what's going on? Nothing's going on. Ritik Katrina ka dance nahi hai, kuch nahi ho raha hai. And all the other people in the focus screenings that were not from the industry were reacting to it the way I wanted people to react to it. So it's you know, I mean, I've just realized that the only thing I know is I don't know anything. I know what I want to make, and I make what I want to watch, and I'll find somebody
Who'll
you
like
know,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things that she just said is actually sometimes the challenge is that people want to box you as a certain kind of filmmaker, right? And I think if you want to bridge the gap between indie and mainstream, some people think you are lost. But it's just that you're trying to make a film which doesn't belong here or there. You need stars, but it's not a story where you are going to project them as stars, right? So you want them to be regular, real people, but they're like, but I'm a star. You know, and that is where it gets really like...
But I love the fact that today you can do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like people have come up to me and said, Ranveer was okay with the Gully Boy intro. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. But he's in out of focus. But I'm like, but it's not his scene at that point.
Right.
But that's his intro. And I'm like, but he's not Ranveer. He's Murad. And Ranveer, like when we spoke about it or when we shot it and we blocked it, it didn't come up at
That's amazing.
all.
It just didn't come up.
It didn't come up. Like no one spoke about. Like it didn't come up for him. It didn't come up for me. If he thought it, he's too smart. You know, he knows what he's doing. He knows exactly where he fits into the film. Like it never came up for anybody. You know. But then you realize you're like, oh, okay. You know. So there's a. But I feel we are very lucky to be around actors that are going for it. You know?
But Shoojit, you did that in Piku with an actor like Deepika. It's amazing to me that after that success, you made October, which was even quieter and even sort of less of a shouty, melodramatic film. It was so quiet, in fact, that people were like, hey, ye kya hua? Right. What was the thinking behind that? And did you feel that the success of Piku gave you that freedom to do that?
Yes, it gives definitely quite a bit of it takes a little challenge that should you do it or not do it. But I think that's the challenge that filmmaker will always have to take it. For example, your digital platform, I didn't know how it's going to work, but once I saw Roma and I got convinced that no, there is a way that, you know, this digital platform may work. And the day I saw Roma, immediately that evening I went and saw Bicycle Thief and Pather Pachali because I felt so connected to those two films because of Roma being there. I mean, I was just devastated and so happily devastated.
Yeah.
Ki, man, this film can happen in this platform also.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's a matter of how you tell that story. It's a matter of how much challenge you can take on yourself, and how much you can challenge as a craft. I think that matters, and I think people are clever enough to watch your story the way it is. I'm not talking about the box office. I'm just telling about cinema as a pure art form.
So let's talk about the box office, right? Because along with this flowering of great sort of nuanced storytelling, really wonderful films that speak to our hearts, there's also an increased pressure to perform because of social media. Right, now the first day figures are now like a spectator sport. Everybody knows ki kitni opening thi, kisko kya laga, you know, what has war done, which is the biggest now. What kind of pressure does that put on you as artists, and how do you deal with it, or do you not think about it at all? And Sriram, I have to insist you speak.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
I thought if I'm asked, I'll talk. But so about box office, yeah. I mean, there is for example, Andhadhun, for example. I mean, when it's a crazy thing. What these guys, the producers, they have a focus group for the script also. So now they say, okay, if this actor is playing it, this is the first day. These are all estimates, approximates, or whatever. And if Ayushmann is playing it, your first day is going to be 160. Based on what? Not on the script. His last film, which was at that time Meri Pyari Bindu, which had not done well. I find all these things pretty, weird, daft, whatever you say. So you just don't think about all this. You just make the movie. You've got a terrific actor. Now, once the film is over, I had approached quite a few bigger stars, so to say, for the movie. But somehow, either for whatever reason, they could not do it or did not want to do it or whatever it is. But I mean, I'm so glad that if it had been with any of them, the movie's tone would have changed. I don't know. So somewhere I think you have to protect the film totally, and somewhere these things also help protect you in a sense, I mean, so I'm willing to face all the focus groups and all this nonsense. I don't care, it's just some feedback you're getting. Take what you want and that kind of a thing,
But do you any of you think about that first day? Do you, especially when you're
I
creating?
stopped thinking about it long time back.
I
never get the first day, so एक point पे हो गया कि I try.
I don't think about it on the first day, but I think it's a very tricky place because you are part of the industry, you're part of a business, and you are taking money. People are giving you money to make a film, and it's expensive medium. So I want the film to make money because there's producers involved. I want the film to make money because actors are trusting me, and the box office is what makes them stars or not, right? And that enables me then to cast people or not. So I am in terms of the business of it, yes. But am I interested in what the audience thinks of my box office? Not at all. I am interested in what the audience thinks of my film. I don't think this is the box office numbers of a movie. I don't think are anyone's business except the trades.
Yeah, but now it is, Zoya. Now it's everyone's business.
It's everyone's business because people are tom-tomming their numbers because the media is doing it. It's no one. Do you go to a restaurant and ask them how much money they make a year?
Right.
Last month, what were your collections? Do you ask the restaurant? No, you don't. Now you go there and eat because you like the food. So why should it's like anything else? I come to this bar. I like the vibe. I like the music. I like the crowd. Am I asking them how much they made last night? Does it matter to me?
But
why
Zoya,
should the film matter to you?
It is part of your marketing. I know Andhadhun did massively well in China because your producers have sent me a press release to say that it broke all records.
No, I totally agree that we cannot avoid at the most you cannot take the pressure, but you cannot avoid it.
So do you not take the pressure?
You try not to. See, I'll tell you, my first time it happened to me was I had no idea of this box office thing till Agent was going to be released, and the film was whatever for good, bad. There were some things that were working, some things were not. One day before the release, the accountant in that office, the producer office, telling me, weekend में 50 मारना पड़ेगा. I said, तू बोला, पहला क्यों नहीं बोला ये? मतलब I had no idea. So I said the film didn't overall make 50. That's another matter. And that came along with Vicky Donor. Vicky Donor made more than us. So I always remember that. So I said, okay.
Shoojit, you can apologize.
What Zoya said, that it's an expensive medium.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's very unfortunate that cinema is an expensive medium. Yeah. I hope it was like any other art form where singularly we could go and do a dance form and dance or singing and it would have gone to get to the people. But yes, I mean, what she said, there's a balance to it, So we'll have to it's very important to have that balance because if we don't, if you're making a film, then you're making a film. If I have to think about the box office, then I don't think anybody can make that film
Yeah.
that they have started the journey with. It will be very difficult because you know they never match. There is no way that what you
never
say
know
what you
what
say it works
happened.
is a different thing. It's a very different, but I'll say a jargon altogether. But if you, as a filmmaker, if you're asking that, you know, if that pressure is there, yes, external pressures are always there. But you know, as a filmmaker, the job is to not take that pressure deliberately and make your own film. I think that's what has worked. And all these cases, the films that have, I think all has worked against the tide of the, what he says, ki 50 banana padega has worked.
मारना
नहीं,
पड़ेगा.
there's this,
पहले क्यों नहीं बताया? As if it would have changed things.
you know, but it's also because I've figured out long time back that in order to make a film, one has to start working backwards. My thing is, when you write a script, that's when I think like, okay, how much money do I need to make this film? Based on which, do I need to go to a star or do I work with newcomers?
Yeah.
Will it recover all its costs by selling it to OTT? Is that pressure on me or off me? So my films have started becoming safe ever since I figured that much out.
Right.
To work backwards.
Yeah.
I'll do it in that
We all
cost.
do
Yeah.
that, I think, in our own ways, you know, we try to, maybe
Just make it that controlled cost.
Yeah, I think
And based
control
on that,
is
if I
very
need to go
important.
to a star, then I'll go to a star. If I don't need to, then I don't. I'll work with a newcomer.
The approach from a filmmaker's point of view or a producer's point of view, I think sometimes it changes. You know that this is not a day one film. You're very clear. Friday nahi hoga, you know. But you go with a certain conviction and you want to back it up. And in that, more often than not, I feel you're far more liberated. यार इसका होना तो कुछ है नहीं. ठीक है, हम अपनी बना लेते हैं जो हमको आता है.
Right.
And I would say, like, if I talk about my first film, as a director or as a producer, I faced it both the times the same scenario. Like, I think when I was making Band Baaja Baaraat, everybody told me कि यार ये क्या लड़का है, क्या बना रहे हो तुम ये पिक्चर, ये लड़का है क्यों पिक्चर के अंदर, you know, and I'm like यार मतलब मुझे तो सब ठीक लग रहा है, मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा आप किस पे रिएक्ट कर रहे हो. Film is not out yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and while we are approaching the release date, signs were clear that we gonna. In fact, Band Baaja was probably the lowest Friday Yashraj had ever seen. So signs were there, कुछ होने नहीं वाला है, गाने हिट नहीं हो रहे हैं, ट्रेलर का कुछ नहीं हुआ, अरे यशराज की शादी वाली पिक्चर आ रही है. This is what people used to tell me, and I was like, अच्छा. And then things did change and it worked out well. But somewhere I would say like Adi had a strong conviction. I never faced budget issues in my film because I had a newcomer, you know.
Right.
I think it was a very well spent in terms of whatever was asked for was given. There was nothing like a newcomer इतने पैसे नहीं खर्च कर, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं था. I think it was only about conviction and it worked out well, so everyone's very happy. But okay, if it hadn't worked out well, I think there was clarity कि Friday को कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, and now the film has to speak for itself, you know. Similarly, when Dum Laga Ke happened, unfortunately, Ayushmann had, you know, like he was saying कि last Friday कैसा था, अच्छा नहीं था,
Right.
you know.
Right.
And it was a conscious choice. We did not even market the film properly. We were like, "Iska kuch nahi hai Friday." Now the film has to speak for itself because we did it once. I think that's why we had that confidence. And again, it worked out well. Sometimes it hadn't also. ऐसा नहीं है हर बार होता है. But I think somewhere you are aware that okay, this is not your day one wali film. Hopefully, the film will speak for itself. So you know.
Do you know in the last decade he has directed 4 films and produced 4 films?
Well done.
That's super.
Can you imagine that? I was like, wow, you've been busy. Okay, so what's the biggest risk you've taken in the last decade? Anurag, you tell me.
Biggest risk?
Yeah. Your biggest artistic risk in the last 10
Oh,
years.
it was Bombay Velvet. I totally failed there. That was something that, a film that I wrote and went against my conviction. There was a way I do films and I didn't do that film that way. In the sense like, you know, mixing bits and parts and shoot. I like marked places where I'll create Bombay, travel across. And I had a budget of 15, 20 kind of a thing. And then it got sold at a high price and this new company that was there and suddenly I just went against my grain to shoot the film. I remember I was so lost because everything was so organized that I had to create chaos on my set to shoot. Because that's where I thrive. When nobody knows what's going on. I had to do that on my set. I gave different instructions to everybody, there was chaos and I shot. But I totally went against my grain. And after that, I've never done that. My life has been very sorted since then. I just know what not to do.
Shakun, for you?
I've only made 2 films, not unlike him, with 4 films produced, 4 directed. I think the biggest risk I've taken is something I'm kind of still, I'm dealing with it even now, is after Kapoor and Sons came out, I wanted to tell the Osho story. It's a story I grew up with. And it's not a conventional story. I want to tell the whole story. It's a huge story. I'd spent years researching it. I've grown up in a house listening to him. And it has to be told in English because a lot of it happened in Oregon. But it's with Indian cast at the forefront. And I knew that it's not going to be an easy story. And when I spoke to a few people, the first reaction was, this is not going to happen. And I still don't know if it's going to happen, to be honest. So I flew to Switzerland and I met Sheila and I bought her life rights without knowing if I can make it, not make it, because I was just like, this is a story. If there was one story I was born to tell, it was this story. And so I'm still trying to figure out how to get it made at the scale that I want to get it made, and without, as I said, compromising on what I want to do with it. You can't do, dance and song with it. There's no way you can do that. Also, it has to be, as I said, so much of it is going to be in English. So I'm still figuring that out. So I hope it pays off. But if it doesn't pay off, I always tell myself, I told myself this about last December, that even if I don't end up making it, the time that I've spent reading about the time, people, it has changed me as a person. It has made me feel like that I'm more grown up. Also, filmmaking now seems really small compared to what these guys were doing back in the day. They built a city on their own, right? And I'm still trying to figure out how to make a movie. And conversation happened. I was talking to Sheila, and because it was taking so much time to kind of get this together, and she's like, how much money do you really need? And it was, millions and millions of dollars. And I was like, Sheila, roughly around this much. And she's like, we raised that kind of money in 3 months. And that made me realize that, doesn't matter. Look at these people. They've lived their life. Your life is made from experiences. So the risk and the payoff and all of that is just up and down of what you'll get with it. But I hope that my happiness doesn't depend on whether it happens or not.
Right.
So that's the learning.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I don't, like now when I look back, some things have worked out well and some things haven't, and maybe I did take risks. But in that moment, I felt if I didn't do it this way, I'd be taking a risk. Like if I went another way, like it wouldn't work. Like to sell the music, like to sell to a music company the artists that were on Gully Boy. It took a bit, because they're 54 artists. They've never done a film, and the youngest is 16. Like they were all like nobodies. But if I had done it any other way, it would be a risk. So at that point, I'm like, I can't take a risk because this is the way, to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel like I've taken, maybe now in hindsight, but at that moment,
it just feels like the right thing to do.
yeah, it feels like if I don't do this, then, So actually, one big actor, I didn't want to do a movie, my first film, and he offered me a movie, and it was like, it would have been a quintessential blockbuster, and I said no. So maybe that was a risk, but I think it panned out. So I don't think I've taken
Everything
risks.
pans out.
It
all
pans
pans
out.
out.
I don't think I've taken risks.
It all pans out.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, she doesn't.
I don't
like,
take risks.
I remember when I was on the sets of Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, and I saw Zoya the way she was making a film, and I'm coming from no money filmmaking to moneyed filmmaking, and I was looking at her and I said, why are you doing this? She said, Anurag, don't envy my privileges. I like my privileges.
I was like, Anurag, don't come here and like make me feel guilty. Correct. I'm not interested. Yeah, Anurag wants to produce my film, and he's like, I said, but how much will you give me for art and costume? And he's like, art and costume doesn't get money. I was like, bye. That was the end of our collaboration.
Shoojit, what about you?
Yeah, I don't know. Risk. It's very difficult. Maybe I'll be taking a risk in future. I did all my films myself, so there's no risk actually. Yeah, so far I think all the films.
Risk?
No, I think it's all. I did it myself, so I was very comfortable doing those
He's
films.
been like that. So yahan bhi, he just went.
I did it myself.
Yeah,
That
he
also
went
mine.
with his cameraman, and there was hardly any crew. And
Yeah, I
they
just
shot
called
yahan.
Jakob and I said, "Tell, come, I want to do a film." He said, "Yes, I'm shooting a documentary in India. I'll come and shoot." So far, all the films that I've done it myself. So I was not dependent on anyone. I'm depending on money or anything, or I just went to the actors, I told them the stories, they came on board, and they came and be on the set. So, actually speaking, I mean, risk, in my case, maybe in future I'm going to take some risks for sure.
By working with the studio, the other way.
Yeah. Sriram, what about you? What risks have you taken?
I don't know, like he said, like Anurag said, na, ki when you have a film that you spend a lot of time on, expensive and it doesn't work, it sort of makes you, it almost takes you a little closer towards nirvana of some sort, You don't care about those things anymore.
Right.
And you're trying to
You're
just
free.
make you're trying to make, okay, thank God, you're under the radar, you can make your own films and that's really what
It's
you
like
want.
nothing can top that anymore.
Correct.
Okay.
So there is no risk. The risk, I mean, when I began, say, Asian Mirror also, it was like, I was most excited about it and I'm still kind of, I think there are a lot of good things, but the point is something else. The point is how in a big film you slowly, systematically sort of go against your own thoughts and your own thing and you're getting co-opted in all this. It's not that you're doing it angrily or sulkingly and
You're
so on.
seduced by the whole
Yeah,
thing.
you're seduced by the whole thing, and and we are talking about sequels. And Saif is once telling me, okay, after 4 films, I'll give the thing to, we'll get another Vinod and we'll give it to him. I said, yeah.
Well, I already had like 4 films. I had a Bombay quadrilogy, all scripts done, written.
Really?
Yeah. कि ये Bombay Velvet चलेंगे, इसके बाद we'll do Raman Raghav, we'll do something else, and Raman Raghav was ready to go. Budgets were done. The film bombed. I took the script. I made it Raman Raghav 2.0. That's where it came from. I rewrote the whole film. I called him. I said, I rewrote the whole film, 2.0 version. I went to first Madhu and asked him, I said, how much money will you give me now to make a film? And this I'm talking about the Monday of the release week. That if I don't tell you what the script is and I don't give you an
Bombay Velvet Friday ko release हुई. On Monday you're having this conversation.
This conversation. I said, just tell me an amount that I'll get to make a film now,
Right.
where I don't have to go and get a star and I don't want to share the script. So he said 3.5 crores. I said 3.5 crores. I sat down with my line producer. I said, I want to make it look like a film. How many days do I get to shoot if I'm making a film in this much? He said 20 days. I said, okay, I'll write a script that I can shoot in 20 days. And I worked backwards. And that's why the film was in chapters.
Unreal.
Wow. And because if I didn't do that, I've seen a lot of my friends, when the films don't work, don't come out of it for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
And it's the film I'm most attached to, Bombay Velvet. I'm most attached to. It will always be like this to me.
You have the reels in your house. You
Yeah,
showed me.
everything.
Yeah.
I have kept everything. One day I'll do my different cut.
I also do that. I do
Interesting that you
different
said
cuts.
that, because even for me, the fastest I've moved on to my next film was when a film didn't work.
Yeah.
Which was Luck by Chance made no money. 2009 it released. 2010 I was shooting Zindagi. I've never moved at that pace ever. Like I just needed to immediately
Get on.
Yeah.
get. You have to get back on the horse as soon as possible. I think.
No,
Yeah.
and it is very important. It
It's
also
interesting
takes
though.
out everything. And then, हो गया film खत्म हो गई. So my thing is now I'm dealing with this. उसका जो था वो हो गया, दबा दिया उसको.
Correct.
Now I have to deal with this. What I have in mind.
Manish, was fan your biggest risk?
I mean, it was my biggest heartbreak, but I am not sure it was the biggest risk. Actually, that's the only film I wanted to make when I came
Right.
to
You
Bombay.
wanted that before Band Baaja.
Yeah, I mean, Band Baaja happened because
It always happens with the only film you want to make.
exactly. No, Band Baaja happened because Adi told me that, fan is a very ambitious and a big concept. So you should attempt something. I mean, in those many words, these are smaller.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on to it. I want to make this film. It cannot be a first film. And I was like, अरे यही तो बनाना था, यही तो बात हो रही थी 3 साल से. मैं तो fan ही बना रहा था. So when that happened, then Band Baaja came from somewhere. I don't know where. I was not thinking about that film at all. In fact, the only film I was thinking about was Fan. So while making it, or the excitement of it and whatever was happening was actually, I was just living my dream. Honestly, I was just too excited. And in hindsight, I mean, one understands whatever has happened, not happened. But making of it, I would not call it a risk. But it not working, yeah, I mean, that's something which is too personal to me. And yes, it has taken time. But risk, I wouldn't say Fan was a risk, and I think each film you make, somewhere you feel the risk. Of all kinds of pressures, you have a personal ambition with any film that you do of a certain kind. Would you achieve that? Would you not? You keep thinking about these things, but I mean, filmmaking is a risky business. Yeah, any film you get into, you're risking something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's a neutral criteria, I feel.
You know, I want to talk about stars. You guys, you were saying, Zoya, that you know, that Ranveer didn't even discuss entry shot kya hai or any of that. And yet, you know, there is I think a sort of a hurdle because stardom is so outsized in this country. You know, because the clout they have is so outsized in comparison to filmmakers, right? Now, with a film like Fan, where I thought it was amazing in the way you got Shah Rukh Khan to sort of poke holes into his own mythology. But at some point, I felt like the film felt the need to serve that mythology, and which is where it kind of then fell apart. How much do you think actors in this country and the A-list actors who have the clout to get stuff made, because here that whole Hollywood dictum of if Tom Cruise likes a script, it's a great script, is still true, right? If a star likes a script, it's a great script and it will be greenlit. How much have they evolved? Have they kept pace with you all as artists? Are they willing to take the risks that you all are?
No, but actors were like, say for example, Ranveer was willing to take a risk is why he did a Bombay Velvet. But what happens is, when everybody is trying to figure out, the number one reason that came up in their research, what they didn't like about the film was his hairstyle. Now that can't be like, you know,
Right.
somehow in your head you're like, really?
Yeah.
I
That
got the
can't
script
be.
right, but not the hair.
No. The script was also one of the reasons, but I think number one reason was his hair that he didn't
Correct.
like.
बाल ठीक नहीं थे.
Yeah, और कि like हाँ ये मतलब कैसे कोई मतलब वहाँ पे तो हम सोच ही नहीं रहे. मैं तो अभी तक स्क्रिप्ट में फंसा हूँ कि फिल्म में एडिट में गड़बड़ कहाँ हुआ, यहाँ क्या हुआ, what did not communicate. But you really the market research team says here, so you don't have an answer to that. So actor also starts thinking sometimes. You know, he was taking so many chances.
He was.
He was taking so many chances.
Yeah, yeah.
And then comes a point where you have to go back and to the table and put yourself back together again, so you can again take chances. But on the other hand, with Badlapur and October,
Yeah,
it's a
Varun
sign
took
of
big chances.
Varun is taking chances. It's a
Yeah,
sign.
yeah.
With Chapak and Piku, Deepika is taking chances. Actors are doing things. But I think, it is a very personal thing. If you succeed taking chances, you take more chances. And you fail taking chances,
Yeah.
you go back to your safe zone.
Yeah.
Because you have to have a career, because you don't want to do anything else.
Yeah.
So that's just the thing I feel.
Also, I think actors are willing to take chances if they feel that confidence in the director who's come to them with the script. You know, if they feel safe in that person's hands, they will give in to that. And I feel that's why with the Zoya or, you know, with Shoojit Sir, it's actors are willing to take that chance.
Yeah.
If they feel they are 60% there, they'll take that 40% leap.
Right.
So yeah, it depends on multiple factors. But as he said, if your chances have paid off, then you take more chances.
Well, Ayushmann auditioned for you to get Andhadhun.
Well, it was not an audition. It was more like an informal kind of a thing. But no. I don't think actors are very. I mean, they're not like vastly improved, because my main problem stars I'm talking about. Because my main problem is, I sometimes don't even approach somebody who's hugely successful, simply because I just feel that this movie can be done in 15 or 20 crores and make whatever. It may not make 200 or whatever their last film made, you know. But what she was saying, that the sheer joy of wanting to perform a thing or something, if that is not ingrained in you, that whether for actors or directors or anyone like that, you know, it's like, then how are you going to get out of that? Then I'm trying to convince you that please do it.
But you're saying that sheer joy is still not there in too many of them.
Not too many of them. Even when Varun, of course, Badlapur, when he did it, when he said yes, I was curious, does he understand the story? Because Nawaz has actually got the hero's arc, you know. So I said, why is he? I mean, this is actually a damn difficult decision to take, but somehow I think he was just sort of enamored by Breaking Bad and whatever we were talking and all that, so he took that chance, you know. But that's a risky thing he did. I mean, but I don't think too many actors are still kind of, you know, like when we see when you talk about Tom Cruise, any of these foreign actors, I mean, you see some Brad Pitt doing some crazy, wonderful stuff, you know.
Yeah.
You don't ask, did that movie or how much did he make? All these things don't enter our heads. Idhar utna nahi hota hai wo.
This conditioning has happened because of this whole box office figures becoming so mainstream.
Absolutely.
Very
That
few.
what has happened is actors now, and most often now, have this whole thing, they like something, they want to do it, but their second mind starts talking to them, telling them, will it work or won't work?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Earlier it was, I want to do this because I really want to do this. That joy of wanting to do something is not the sole reason for them to make a
But
decision.
Anurag, the one small difference I found was, I mean, sorry to being little, but I found the female actresses are much more aggressive in terms of their risk taking
Yes.
than the male actors.
I totally agree.
I
Totally agree.
That's last 10 years my experience.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally agree.
I felt that they are more ready to take the challenge and not worry about their looks, not worried about the baggage of being an actress. So that difference I have seen a lot in the 10 years. But they come with a lot of insecurity, which is part of this industry itself, I think. I think people have made it into a, because we are not subsidized, yes. As soon as we get subsidies, we will have no problems. Nobody will be in risk.
We won't get subsidies.
So,
Only on a.
no, I think for a filmmaker, it's extremely important to get subsidies so that he can be free.
Yeah,
He can be
subsidies
absolutely
across the world, but not here.
I know. I'm saying, where you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to worry, and
I think somewhere
pure
it's
art.
getting equalized with the OTT platform
which
coming in.
we will
I
come
think
to.
that's given a solace that at least your film will be watched.
Yeah.
You not worry about the monies or
Right.
the Fridays or the Saturdays,
That-
but
that-
someone, like she said, someone is going to watch it, who is our audience.
Correct.
So that's extremely beautiful.
No,
thing,
let's talk about streaming. The two of you have done long form narratives. You're producing a documentary now that will go on Netflix. How do you think that is going to shape the landscape? Shoojit, you were saying that it's going to, you don't have the pressure then of the box office. But what has it done to you as storytellers to tell stories?
It has been a lifesaver for me.
Really?
Yeah, because for me, it's like we were joking about it earlier. Like when you talk about people thinking day one, I don't think year one, because it's like when somebody comes and starts telling me they like my film, I know my film has been released for a year now.
So 1 year later they watch.
Yeah, because that's how it has been. Because I started getting messages, texts, calls about films like Yellow Boots or Ugly and all that after they came on Netflix. People started writing to me, and suddenly, and based on that, there's a whole lot outside, because that funding started coming to me from outside. And I'm making my films same way that I was making, but I have much bigger budgets now, and I have absolutely no answerability. I'm working with a rank newcomer, and it is all because of the kind of audience I've realized this. Because there used to be a joke that Kamal Khan used to crack. Anurag is hit on social media. That Twitter hit. Iska film is Twitter hit. So my thing is, if people are talking about you on social media, they're also watching the film on social media. And it took me a long time to understand that my audience, because the films might be a little complex, or they are speaking to an audience that's a working audience or a college going audience, that doesn't have the time to stand on a Friday in a line to buy your ticket. That audience will eventually find a way to watch your film at their own convenience. And this has made it convenient for them. And because of which, I don't have to struggle for funding. This OTT has totally changed my life. It has totally changed my life because suddenly my audience is everywhere.
Yeah.
And now I can simply make a film based on what acquisition would be made on this film for OTT. So for me,
You're
it's
not
been
thinking theatrical at all.
No, I'm saying even theatrical, based on the acquisition by OTT.
Correct.
I work backwards like that, and I'm suddenly in a much better space. I'm in a much better space, and I don't mind, because if that's where people are going to watch my film, I would go straight there, because I want people to watch my film. And it also empowers me in terms of I can be even more complex and more dense. I don't need to explain so much.
Yeah.
I don't have to alter my way of looking at the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, it's been life-changing.
So what about the romance of theatres?
Is
The
there?
filmmakers that I've most loved and films that have impacted me the most are films I've seen on a laptop screen, not in theatres. I'm a big fan of Woody Allen. I've not anything that has. All my favorite films are Woody Allen's from the 70s and 80s. I wasn't even born in the 70s, and I've watched them on a 13-inch laptop screen. So for me, as much as I love the experience of going to the theatre, I think a bad film doesn't become better and a good film doesn't become bad just because you're watching on something else. I still watch a lot of stuff on the iPad, and I actually find that experience more intimate than to go in a theatre and be eating popcorn. Sometimes actually I'm more zoned in on an iPad screen than I'm in a theatre. So for me, that has never been a problem. In fact, I want people to experience what I make the way I experience things on an iPad. and I want to make that kind of content. So yeah, for me, OTT is a great platform. It gives your movie more life, more shelf life. You know, I mean, I could have loved a Hindi film from the 90s, but you couldn't just order a VHS or go buy a DVD the moment you wanted to watch it. Now, sometimes I'm sitting home at night, I want to watch something, I just go watch 20 minutes of that film. So for me, that is amazing, and I actually love that kind of experience with the film. It's more there anytime for you. You know, whenever you want to go out, reach out to it. It's right there, and I love that. So that's how I experience all my, as I said, Woody Allen films.
Yeah.
Is I had a DVD at all times. Sometimes watch a movie like 20 minutes every day.
So no one's afraid of the digital?
No, I don't think they are interchangeable like this for me at all. I think they're completely different experiences. Like for me, watching a show or something that I do on the laptop, it's like a visual book. I can read a chapter, one chapter a night. I can dip in and dip out. It's like a book.
Yeah.
It's a visual book. I mean, nothing replaces a theatre experience for me. There are certain films I will never watch on a laptop. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I'm not going to watch it on a laptop. I want the screen. I want to be there. I want it to be larger than life. I want to be in a dark room. I want a collective experience. Or Joker, I'm not going to watch it on my laptop. Like, so, I mean, even when I'm on an aircraft and I haven't seen certain films, I will not watch it. Like, I'm not going to do that, you know? So they're different films. There's certain intimate films, yes, you can do it, but they're very different experiences. One is alone with you at your time. The other thing is that it's going out there, being in a theatre. It's not the same at all. At all. Then nothing replaces that. Nothing.
Yeah, I'll take a little forward to this actually. I'll just give you a small anecdote of my first film, Yahan, release. So you did a lot of research, you did a lot of work. I mean, we all do a lot of mehnat in one film. So it's, I mean, that's without goes saying that. So after so much of hard work, you finally see a film released and it's in a big format. You go to the theatre, Friday, it's released. You're on a high. I can't tell you the high, of course, we all know, you know. You're on a high, you're watching the film, fine. Friday goes, Saturday goes, Sunday goes, shows start decreasing. And you know, you are in the top of the, you know, first film is released. And after 1 week, you see one small show there. I run across, I go and watch this, and there are 5 people on the theatre. Then next day you go, there are 1 people or 2 people, you know, and you slowly, you think that's it. You know, you feel, I mean, you feel so blank, I can't tell you. So low after doing of 3 or 4 years of work. And then I asked my Yakub, next what? Then Yakub said, have you kept it in a lab or have you restored it? I said, yes, I'll give them, but then what? I mean, how will the audience see it? I mean, and that what? So you feel so low, I can't tell you after 1 week of release of film. He said, that's it. And they said, no, it'll come on theatres. And then I call Yakub, no, it'll come on the television. So said they've asked for a new cut of it. I said, what is that cut? So he asked me, so I said, they're asking that you make it completely bright and give it to us. You know, you brighten for the television. But I have not shot like that. There is no blacks in the film. Because blacks are not, there is no whites, they're all blacks because I bleached bypass. So he did that, and you know, it looked awful in the first airing on television. You feel sometimes that it's all gone. All the magic of 4-5 years have just gone in 1 week or 2 weeks. So I think what OTT has done is, it's given me a shelf. It's given me my film a shelf. I can be assured all my life, my film is there.
Yeah.
That is there.
Yeah.
That is definitely
I can't tell you how low a director feels when the film is gone to the theatre.
Yeah.
It's like you're
It's true.
sitting alone. It's sad.
No
It's true.
smoking. I remember the last show
It's
was
true,
there at
actually.
Fun Republic, and few people called me and said, like, it's the last show. The first week, they said last show. The film is not going to be there. And we went to see the last show, and I remember sitting in the cinema. I know tomorrow the film is not going to be anywhere. And that experience, like, I can't forget that, how empty you feel
Yes,
inside.
and you know,
how empty you feel inside.
Sometimes I take a big theatre and do my DCP screenings for some people so that I can also see it in a big screen. It's really I can't explain the experience, the
But
feeling.
you know, the other thing with the streaming platforms is that they've enabled all of us to consume a lot of non-Hindi cinema that normally you may not see because it's
Yeah.
playing in some outlying theater somewhere, and now it's all subtitled, it's in your home. I mean, I've fallen in love with Malayalam cinema. I know, Anurag, you've always been a great fan, but it struck me watching a lot of this stuff that so many of the most innovative films in the last 10 years have actually not come out of Mumbai. If you look at the Bahubali franchise or Kumbalangi Nights or Super Deluxe
Original,
or Sairat,
Angamali Diaries.
Angamali Diaries, Village Rockstars, none of this work has
Jallikattu.
happened here. Jallikattu now, why do you think that is? What is it about this industry? I was speaking to Rana Dagubati, who said that there's just too much money here. Is that a problem?
No, I don't think that. I think, a part of it is that. The part of it is the money game. That's what I'm saying. The minute you start saying box office, that's where you're geared to. You're not doing stuff for storytelling anymore.
But it is also, there's also thing because you're familiar with everyone, na? The element of surprise, Hindi film industry will not hold for you. When you see a film that's coming from there, you don't know the filmmaker, nothing. It just pops out on its own. Hindi film, you already know of what is being made. You already have expectations set
What
with
do you
it.
mean,
That's
sir?
new.
What do
There
you
are
mean
more
there's
cultural specificity,
Yeah,
right?
the specific, we know
It's a world you're entering when you watch those films.
these are
This is
the
a world you
worlds
know.
Yeah.
So this world
I
you will
that
probably
too.
opinionate on, but not be surprised by.
Right.
But I think Nagraj Manjule is super,
Right, he's amazing.
super
He's
exciting.
super.
Like Fanry
Yeah.
is unbelievable.
His coming up film is also
Yeah.
very, very
Unbelievable.
I'm just saying, why isn't there more innovative work happening here? Given our resources, given our massive brand that Bollywood is.
Do you think, I don't know, but do you think that our audience is wider within the country, and therefore to try to cater
Reach
to
out,
so many different...
It flattens out.
It
It flattens
flattens
out.
out.
It
So
flattens
you
out.
are dumbing down.
With the regional
wider you want to
audiences,
cater,
they are
the
very
more-
familiar with the world you're creating.
Right.
If I just compare it with the last 5 years, let's say, I would still say the percentage would be a little better.
Sure,
You know?
sure.
There is a Tumbat coming out at least.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one name that's coming to me right now. But I'm saying, the volume might not be that much, but it's definitely little better. And I feel the voices that we have who are capable and they have intention to do this kind of work, I think they might end up choosing a platform like Netflix or streaming or Amazon or whatever. So I think the content will come, maybe not in the theaters.
Maybe not in theaters.
I hope it does. If not, then I think it will find its space. It's gonna come out. Like Newton is there. There are films there. But yeah, I mean, if you take Fahad Fasil's filmography, and we won't be able to match that kind of a thing as of now. But yeah, I think it's getting a little better. I think there will be a lot more coming up.
The other thing also, I feel I meet many filmmakers who have made films also and pretty inexpensive and interesting films, but they get the obstacle becomes the marketing. If the film is costing you 2 crores and the marketing is 7 crores, suddenly it doesn't work out. Which I don't know the economics of Kumbalangi Nights, and I don't know which
They don't
movie.
have that pressure.
They don't have
The
marketing.
industries are
There is a
very controlled.
self-sufficient industry also. They are
Yeah.
very self-sufficient.
Whereas
market.
And
here-
they don't do the marketing
like
like that.
No, and here the
No,
moment
they
you make
released the
a-
trailer of the film 1
Lovely.
week before.
like a film like Aankhon Dekhi was lovely.
Yeah.
It
But-
was a really good movie.
But how much does it get a release? Because there are
Yeah.
big films there coming, and you say, okay, why am I paying? Like, I want to see another movie. I remember that movie is also $300, and this other big movie also $300. So something is wrong. So you say, okay, I'd rather wait and watch it, kind of a thing. Unless I really want, like Jallikattu, I wanted to watch, and I will watch. But it was running last week when during Mami was going on. So I think that is one thing that hinders. But finally. All these are excuses. If you want to make a film, you have to make it. And as good film, you have to make it, and it will find its audience. That is for sure.
Okay, last question. I want to ask you, what is your ambition for the next 10 years? What is the next decade looking like? Manish, you go first.
I don't know. I
Four
just
more
want
movies to produce and 4 more to direct.
Yeah.
There's no number to it. I think I just want to wake up every morning thinking about a film. That's all I want to do. And I think it has happened so far, touch wood, and I hope it continues. That's what it is. You just want to wake up and working on one film at least
That's
every day.
amazing.
That's it.
That's lovely.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that's lovely. Sriram?
Yeah, my thing is like just be a little more prolific and learn from these two guys sitting in front of me. So, because actually that's the main thing, because sometimes you just wait and you kind of I take my own time. which once Kamal Hassan had told me, he said, oh, but you have found the secret, no? So you don't have any worry. I said, what is the secret? He was trying to, I said, what secret? You're living for 300 years. That's why you're making 3 years for 4 saal make movies. So I said, well, so it's like that. So just try and be prolific from my side and then try and make whatever, some kind of fun films, relevant films, whatever.
What fun. Cannot wait. Shoojit?
I actually want a very, a perfect scenario where I can make political films, name politicians, like the West does, even the president or the prime minister or the minister or anyone, or the White House or the CBI or the CIA, anyone. And with the right freedom of expression, I can make those films in future. I think India needs that. We have not made political films yet where we have been absolutely true to our,
Yeah, biopics are not so honest.
Yes, so I think I would want that next 10 years we make films which surpasses all those hindrances and we really make pure political films which are, which can name anyone. So I want next 10 years like that.
Lovely.
I think Anubhav is the only one making, not what you're saying, but he's at least making political films.
I tried, but I could not
good.
in name in Madras Cafe I did. I didn't imagine that in a country like this I'll be able to make Madras Cafe on this South Asian issue. But yeah, I could, but I would want to still make that film naming people.
Right. Zoya?
Me, I've started a company, me and Rima, called Tiger Baby. So I think the next 10 years would be developing and growing that. I think we want to work in every medium. I definitely want to push female voices. I definitely want to be able to have an identity in that sense for women and stories to come out. And I think for myself, I want a near perfect film. I want to make one film that I can see and be like, I wouldn't change a thing. Like, this is it. Now, whether anyone likes it or no, I wouldn't change a thing.
Right.
One film in your filmography should be perfect.
I don't think any filmmaker feels like that. No filmmaker feels
No,
like
you don't think
you're not
Coppola
perfect.
looks at Godfather and
No,
says, I
he
wouldn't
hasn't.
change a
I don't
thing?
think so. I don't think so. No.
No, I look at Godfather and I'm like, wow. Just
But
one
Coppola
film.
is not thinking that.
You just want that one.
One film. But I won't change anything.
It will never happen.
I didn't screw it up. That
It won't
one.
happen.
You feel like you screwed up, Gully Boy?
I'll never tell you where, but yes. I'll never
See,
tell
every
you where.
filmmaker has the same thing. Then I'll never tell you where, but I could have
But I
done
know
that.
what I could. Yeah.
What you could change. Shakun?
They've said such smart things. I'm still figuring out where can I pitch in where it doesn't sound stupid. If I could survive 10 years with the kind of stuff that I would like to do, I'll be very happy. I think I'm at this point very new and insignificant to change the bigger picture. I really just want to make films that I would like to make, and hopefully take those baby steps and then go for the bigger change.
Me, I've been working non-stop. Maybe next, I have 200 films on my IMDb.
I think he needs a holiday.
I need a holiday.
Yeah. Within this decade, one holiday.
Within this decade, I think I want to take 1 year off. Sometime I want to take a year off and do something else, and then come back. Nothing. I'm packed for next 4 years. So
4 years?
yeah, I'm packed.
Bloody hell. And how's that for stardom, yeah? Booked for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I'm just too much.
Too many things going on.
So that's why I need a break. I need to plan my holiday.
Hey, it's a good problem to have. Saroj Khan had told me this once, कि बेटा कभी ज़्यादा काम का complain मत करना, क्योंकि जब काम नहीं होगा ना, फिर दिल में बहुत दर्द होगा. Yeah.
काम तो मैं शुरू से ही था. ऐसा कभी था ही नहीं काम नहीं था. From the time.
Yeah. There's never been a no calm situation, which is wonderful.
कुछ भी मेहनत कर लेंगे. कुछ भी कर लेंगे हम मेहनत कर.
Correct. Guys, thank you so much. This has been so much fun, and the only reason I'm stopping is because they're saying it's been over an hour. You need to stop asking questions. But this was wonderful. Thank you so much, and please keep giving us all the great stories that you have been. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stop making
hide jokes, Anurag. Get over it. You're not in school anymore.
Now, if you stand there, then matlab.
What should I say?
If you like
Film
this,
Companion.
Hi. If you like this video, please subscribe to Film Companion. Bye.
You sound like you.
I know I'm not good with this
Zoya,
shit.
Zoya, 2-3 बार एक के बाद 3 times.
If you like it,
दो दिन देख कर दो.
if you like this video, please okay, fuck it. Anurag, do it. Do it. Do it. I get nervous.
Shakun will do it. Shakun.
Shakun, do it. You're very good. Shakun, do it.
Shakun is very good.
You're very good.
if you like Zoya's video, please subscribe to Film Companion. If you like this video, please subscribe to Film Companion.